Hello everyone, and welcome to my review of Miss Marvel Part 2 of my series, because, yeah, whatever. So, Miss Marvel just finished today. I literally just finished the episode, like, half an hour ago. And I felt a need to talk about it because it felt huge, so I wanted to get this video out as soon as possible. So, yeah, here we go. So, we already talked about Kamala Khan, but her arc was well finished in this series, and I am excited to see more of her in The Marvels, which is coming out February 17th, 2023. I know it's February. I think it's the 17th. I'm not sure, though. I'll have to double check that. But, yeah, her character was very entertaining. Same things I have to say last time. Not much has changed in my opinion. She's still great. Her family is still great. But I wanted to talk about the representation of the Pakistani people and culture in this show, which I thought was great because as a atheist white man, I don't know much about the Pakistani culture, and I thought it was very interesting to learn about it. And I hope that they did it justice, because the Pakistani people and all people deserve that. And I feel like we don't get much specifically Pakistani representation in media. So this show, I'm sure, was great. If you notice that I'm talking a bit slower, it's probably because I don't want to say the wrong thing, because I'm talking about a whole culture. But yeah, I thought it was interesting, especially in the third episode. That's probably why it's my favorite episode of the series. And then the fourth and fifth episode, obviously, they straight up went to Pakistan. So that was interesting. But those two episodes, nothing against Pakistan. It wasn't because it was in Pakistan. But those were probably tied for my two least favorite episodes in the series. I think I just like Miss Marvel more when she's in, like, New Jersey doing her thing. Like, they took way more of the route of the clandestines and yada, 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 right? And it just felt too out there. And, yeah, I got bored at parts. And, yeah, so I just enjoyed the other 4 episodes much more. But I'm 100% certain that it's not because it took place in Pakistan. And, yeah, and we'll talk more about Miss Marvel later, specifically her powers. So, speaking of the clandestines, aka the Jinn, I think their purpose in this show was limited. They felt more like plot devices rather than villains. Because, obviously, 2 of them died in episode 4, and then the other 2 died in episode 5. This being the leader, as shown on screen. And, it felt like they were just there to move the plot. Like, it felt like the, damage control was supposed to be the main villains of the show. I mean, that episode 6, right, was when the final battle, I guess you could call it, was against damage control. The clandestines, they all died in episode 5, so I was wondering, what the heck are they gonna do? They lost their main villains, except they're not actually the main villains, they're just things to be like, hey, Kamala, you're a Jinn, by the way, so bye! And that's it. And Najma, the leader, as shown, sacrificed herself to close the gate to the Jinn dimension to save Earth, and to save her son, Kamran. But I don't think they did a good job explaining how Kamran got his powers. My best conclusion is that she moved the gate to being inside of him, because he did describe it as being in constant pain, like he's gonna explode. And I don't know. I don't get how he got his powers. Obviously, Miss Marvel got hers from the Bengal. But I don't know how he got his. I don't really understand it. But I don't think we'll be seeing Kamran again. I think he'll be in Pakistan for a while. But however, I do think that we might see Red Dagger, as shown right there. And he kind of felt like the clandestines. I think the second half of the show was much weaker than the first half, I think. And he just felt underused and like a plot device again. And of course, if you don't understand the term plot device, it basically just means that they're there to make the story keep going. Which you could make the argument that everything is there to make the story keep going. But sometimes it's like, do you serve a purpose in the story? Or are you just here to make it move faster? And I feel like that's kind of what he did. I mean, he explained Miss Marvel's powers, but he was wrong, so it didn't matter. Yeah. And he and the Red Dagger is the other guy. I don't remember his name. He was only named once. And yeah. I don't have much to say about these two. I think I'm just too distracted thinking about what I really want to get this video out for. Miss Marvel is a freaking mutant. And for non-diehard Marvel fans, that's like, I'm not just talking like, oh, she's mutated. She is one of the X-Men kind of mutants. Obviously, she's not going to join the X-Men, but she is that kind of mutant. And the Bengal, or I guess I should call it the Negaband, which I will explain in a moment, was, I guess, activated her mutant gene? I don't really know. But I am like 90% sure that she is a mutant, and I will show you here in this clip. What happens is, Bruno is saying, oh yeah, your brother was wondering if he had powers too, so I double-checked your genes, and you're unique. And then he says the word mutation, and if you listen closely, you can hear the old X-Men animated series theme. Kamala, there's something different in your genes. Like a mutation. Now, it might not seem obvious, and maybe it's just like oh, he said mutation, X-Men. But I do think that they're going to make her a mutant rather than an inhuman. And I would just like to say that I was right, that in my last video, where apparently she's a djinn, and the Bengal only works for djinns. But here's the thing, is, I don't know if I buy this story. Now, obviously, then I thought she was going to be an inhuman, not a mutant, but that is kind of a unexpected route. I still think, though, now, I think this makes sense for her to be a mutant, but I do think they're going to need to explain it. Because how it's been shown lines up more with an inhuman. Her powers were activated by an external source, the Negaband. So, now that we've talked about the mutant, let's talk about the Negaband, as you can see, or I should say Negabands, because there's two. So, if you stayed through the post-credit scene, you will remember that Captain Marvel showed up. And I would just like to say I was right about this too. I thought that Captain Marvel would show up at the very end of the show. That's probably not that much. But I think most people just expected there to be like a tease for the Marvels, not a straight-up cameo from Captain Marvel. But I did. I was right. Or maybe I was wrong about the fact that most people didn't think that. I don't know. But, the Negaband's right. In the comics, they are bands from the Kree, which, if you remember, in the, first episode? Yeah, at the very beginning of the first episode, they take the Bengal off of a blue arm. Now, this could be anything, but most Kree are blue-skinned. right? So there's a few exceptions, such as Karath, but most of them are blue-skinned. So this could be a Kree. Support in the Negabands are Kree relics. And I'm not 100% sure what they do, but I do know that Captain Marvel, not Captain Marvel, that's a different character, Marvel was given 2 Negabands, right, in the comics. And then, a little while later, Rick Jones, aka I'm pretty sure that's A-Bomb, he found 2 Negabands on Earth. And then they swapped places. And so A-Bomb was placed into the negative zone, and Captain Marvel was placed on Earth. Right? And Captain Marvel used to think that she was a Kree, she was brainwashed, blah, blah, blah. So maybe she's dealing with the Kree. And as we see, we don't see her find the Negaband, but she sees the Negaband, she interacts with it, let's just say. And then, as we see in the post-credit scene, her and Miss Marvel swap places in the universe. So now, and that is her panicked reaction when she walks into a room, very clearly a Captain Marvel fangirl, and she's like, oh crap, this person's somewhere out in space with the Kree. So, yeah, that's basically a setup for the Marvels. They're probably going to do something with the Negabands. That would make the most sense to me. They might twist it like they did with Miss Marvel's powers, but I think that makes the most sense. So, my final score for the entire show is a 9 out of 10. The individual scores for the second half are on the screen now. And if you haven't seen it, I would recommend it. It's a good show for even not quite Marvel fans. It's a good teen drama, somewhat. But yeah, it's good, and it sets up the Marvels very well. And if I'm right about the X-Men, it sets up that pretty well as well. And I did see Thor: Love and Thunder yesterday, so be on the lookout for that review. I'm going to try to get that out in the next few days, or tomorrow if we're lucky. So I will see you guys later.